So I started with, in 2023 through LinkedIn, I connected with Dr. XXX, an energy lawyer based in the UK due to my interest in energy law. So I would say that will be a good, so saying the year, who is it, and how did you connect. Networking is two-way, relationship building is two-way. When it's not two-way, then it becomes a parasitic relationship, and the longevity of it could be a bit wishy-washy. This is our, our mutual thing, of the thing that brings us together. I can't contribute this way, they can contribute this way, and that's how you build longevity in terms of professional relationships. Hi guys, welcome to Thriving Nuggets YouTube channel. And we're back with the relationship building essay. If you've already watched the leadership essay video, you probably know that I'm shooting on the same day. So yeah, we have one jacket over here. Anyway, let's get into it. I think most of the major tips, general tips, were in the first, when I was talking about the leadership essay. So this, I think, will be quite short. Anyway, so we go back to the instructions for this year. It says, tell us about a professional relationship you have built and maintained. In your answer, please address how was the relationship formed and what made it important. So the first part, and as you say, as I told you in the leadership essay, let me repeat, think about a relationship that you have formed in the field that you want to get in, or the field that's related to what you're getting into, or like relationships you have formed in these 2 years after you graduated. So let there be recency in that. So for me, all my networking examples actually were based in the energy space. So the first one was based on how I actually entered into the space through networking, and then the second one was more like how I met my mentor and how that shaped my career goals, and think about my career goals to even applying to the Chevening application. And then the last one was me being in this network of fellowship of African young energy leaders. So it was all going back, it was energy themed. So I think, but I would have taken my second example, so that's what I'm going to be using as I illustrate. So I started with, in 2023 through LinkedIn, I connected with Dr. XXX, an energy lawyer based in the UK due to my interest in energy law. So I would say that will be a good, so saying the year, who is it, and how did you connect in the first, and then in this year they're saying, where was it important? Connecting with my mentor, it was really based on the fact that I wanted to grow in this field, and I found it, like, for me it was important, this network was important because it really contributed to my growth in the energy space, but also it contributed to my my thinking, or the expansion of my thinking when it comes to career goals in this particular field. It was important for me because then I would have like one-on-one or I'll have like a one-on-one relationship with this particular person. It contributed to my growth in this sector. Just think about, why was it important? Like, for instance, for my first example, this network was really important because it contributed to my entry into the energy, environmental, climate justice space, NGO space. And so it was a very important network, and that's, that's why it was, that, and that is what it made it important. So what did you contribute to the relationship, and what did you gain? So it has to be mutual. Relationships, and I have to say this, maybe one day I'll do a whole series on mentorship and relationship building, and there are lessons I have learned on networking this year that I didn't even know of. I'm actually even currently reading a book on great networking. Maybe one day I'll talk about it if there's interest. But networking is two-way, relationship building is two-way. When it's not two-way, then it becomes a parasitic relationship, and the longevity of it could be a bit wishy-washy. So there has to be a two-way, you give me, I give you, like there's that two-way thing. And I think that's why they have really insisted. And I remember someone reviewing my essays was like, no, it doesn't have to be mutual. But I think Chevening this year has made it very clear, what did you contribute to this relationship and what did you gain? So for me, I said through this connection, I learned of her mentorship program, which I joined. And through the program, I have fine-tuned my career goals and got access to her published books, which have enabled me to grow my technical knowledge on energy law. And then through this network. I also now currently volunteer at her organization, African Energy and Minerals Management Initiative, that aims to at effective governance of the energy and mineral sector. In this initiative, I have done this and said what I have done. So it shows that this is what she gave me: mentorship. I was able to fine-tune my goals. She gave me access to her published books. I grew my technical knowledge. In exchange, I have been volunteering at her initiative, and this is what I've accomplished in her initiative. So think about it that way, in terms of two-way, as you answer that. And then it goes to, how have you sustained or developed this relationship over time? So for me, I said have maintained our relationship by having regular check-in calls. You could say you have maintained by having, showing that there's a regular, because that's how you maintain relationships. It's not a one-off of like, oh yeah, I meet you, I get your card, and that's it. It's like any other relationship. Professional relationships are like any other relationships. There has to be communication. There has to be very consistency in it, and it has to feel like there's a mutual thing, so that then you keep growing it. So you have to show that, so that you don't come to the UK, you get like 100 of cards, and then you go, but there's no relationship that you deeply formed, that you could say, oh, now I have a relationship, or I know someone from this place or this other place or this other place, have connected with this person, and this is our, our mutual thing, or the thing that brings us together. I can contribute this way, they can contribute this way, and that's how you build longevity in terms of professional relationships. And then, how will these skills help you build connections with the Chevening community and beyond? So tying it back to the Chevening, And as you tie it back, it's saying, the question is, how will these skills help you build in the Chevening community and beyond? Try not to be cliche. Try not saying, oh, I'm going to join this network and all that. Be very specific as you go in. What's your target? If there's one big lesson, and maybe I'll have like a whole series on networking, but if there's one lesson that I have learned when it comes to building professional relationships, or as you network, if you go in a place and it's a whole industry conference, how do you target? Have like a goal in mind. You have a goal in mind. You're looking for this kind of people. You want to network so that this will enable to XYZ. Sometimes you may get people you didn't anticipate in your objective, and they end up being great professional relationships you didn't, think of. But here it really needs to show your uniqueness, and you understand what these professional relationships could do to you, and you're tying it back to your career plan. You're tying it back to the kind of leader you want to be. In leadership, you're saying, oh, I'm this kind of a leader. When I join the Chevening Scholarship, it will enable me to now go higher and do this thing that I want to do in my long-term goal, and be this kind of influence and this kind of leader. Now, in networking, you're trying to show that these relationships will help me do this thing. Like, I can see how I can leverage. So think of a unique thing you can do, so that then that makes you stand out. So for me, it was the Chevening Scholarship will enable me to collaborate with Chevening scholars and the alumni network to provide. So this is showing beyond. So even the alumni network, not just in this year, to provide linking and learning exchanges among marginalized communities and energy regulatory agencies across the world, to advocate for energy equity and influence community-centered energy policies. So it was really targeted, super targeted to what. So even if, like, by the time I get to my third essay, and I'm telling you I want to do an LLM in energy transition at the University of Dundee, you won't get shocked, right? That's why I was saying singular story. So yeah, literally, that's how I would answer that question. I told you it's going to be short, but that's how I'll definitely answer that question. And so the same advice, try to have 3 examples. Ask someone, maybe someone who's a previous scholar, or just anyone who you trust their judgment, to tell you which one seems stronger than the other, and talk about that. Be careful, don't just talk about, if you are to answer all these 4 pieces of questions they're asking you properly, then you will not end up sort of going into like a relationship where you're just a part of a network. Like, I joined this network and we do this together. Target it to a particular person you build a relationship with, and that will help you have a very strong example. Yeah, so that's it. Actually, that's it for this particular video, and I'll see you on the next one, where we'll be talking about course choice and global challenge, which originally was studying in the UK, and we're going to talk about more about that. So yeah, until the next video, bye bye.